Thank you for coming back for another episode of Full Spectrum Survival. Today we're going to go over a bucket cache. Now, a cache, for all those people who don't know, is a hidden store of essential supplies. We have seen some really elaborate bucket caches where they have long-term supplies. If we ever faced a grid down situation where the resources that were available to you in close proximity became compromised, or you were in a position where you had to leave your immediate area without everything that you would prefer to take with you, a bucket cache is a great solution to that. You can cover the minimum necessities or tools that you need to coin it like Dave Canterbury does to affect your survivability. And Dave covers a lot of great information in his 10 C's. It's a system that my brother and I have adopted. It keeps it very simple, but yet at the same time, you can build on that platform. So when we look at short-term or short duration emergencies, which we consider to be anything 3 days or less,
right.
Anything between 3 days and 3 weeks, we consider long or midterm emergencies, and anything over 3 weeks, we would consider a long-term emergency. This bucket cache could fit into any of those three categories and provide some essential items that would aid in your survivability and ultimately comfort as well. So what I'd like to do is just go over some of the things that we chose, and we think that you're going to be able to create one without spending a lot of money, maybe just by the resources that you already have that you're not using in your home. You can put it in a location that would be along a route that you think you're most likely to follow. It would be best to do more than one cache. You could also use it for bushcrafting. If you are going to revisit an area and you can hide the bucket cache without damaging any of the surroundings, it's a great way to have some extra supplies there if you're trekking 5 to 10 miles, maybe 15 miles out to your campsite. So I'm going to go over some of the essentials that we feel that we picked, and you'll see some of Dave's philosophy in the very items we picked, and we tried to be as economical as possible, because hopefully there will never be a situation where we would out of necessity have to use the bucket cache.
Right.
So the first thing we have is we have a container. Of course, we don't endorse any brands here, but this was very inexpensive. I think we paid $5 for it, and it's stainless steel, so you can boil your water in for disinfectant. You could cook in it if you had to. That was one thing that we knew was a necessity. To stay along that topic, we have, this was an old cheap camping pot that we stopped using. We were going to put this in here hoping to never see it again. We also did one meal, so we'd actually have a meal and the can. We'd be able to use the can. Picked up a pack of dollar store emergency candles,
which really work great.
Yeah, they do really work great. A poncho, a rain poncho. We picked up the all convenient toilet paper.
Gotta have it.
Water purification tablets, a small fishing kit, and some extra spider wire that we had. We wouldn't normally use something expensive. This is a pretty light pound test. We would probably recommend that you use a less expensive monofilament line for a small fishing kit. We also have a shovel, which we find invaluable in our daily activities. This is a stainless steel shovel. You can pick them up again at Walmart for as low as $5. And I'm going to unbox all these before we actually bury the cache. And a way to carry some of the material that you would find critical. A haversack, a backpack, a small bag of any type will give you the ability to not have to carry the 5-gallon bucket with you, which we recommend. We've seen some people discuss that once it's been buried, that in order to harvest the contents, you would just break the top.
Right.
And
it'll harden.
Yeah, and that's a very good way to get in fast and be able to retrieve the contents. But to actually extract the bucket can be useful for a lot of different situations. A great resource to have, especially if you're really limited to this much gear or less. We picked up 2 mosquito head nets, some wire that could be modified, used as snare wire, $1 emergency space blanket, a set of rubber bands, and I'm sure you've seen on the internet all the useful things you can do with a set of slingshot bands besides making a slingshot. You can use them for an engine, for a trap. You can use them for an emergency tourniquet. You can use them to as a straw. There's a lot of uses for these. We carry them in all of our kits. A bar of soap for hygiene, mosquito repellent, and a small fire kit which exists of 2 Bic lighters and a ferro rod and magnesium stick. Also in the kit we included for one person 2 cotton pieces to use as cotton bandanas or to filter water or to wash with, a pair of underwear and a t-shirt. And then a knife. Now a knife we wouldn't have normally put in, this is a $20 knife. Hoping to never see the bucket again, we wouldn't normally put this in. We would suggest that you put in more a knife, something around the $10 or $11 range.
Right, but that will still provide functionality, because we thought about putting in, there's a little, Walmart sells a nice little dollar folder. The blade itself works great, it comes sharp. We have those in a couple of our Altoid or small everyday carry kits, but we have broken folders so many times trying to do complete
Small,
tasks
light,
that aren't folder friendly.
Work.
Yeah, so gotta have a strong back knife.
Right, and last but not least, which would be a shelter system. We've come up with a great way. We had seen tube tents and they're bright orange in color, and that's not always, you don't want to always be as visible unless you're in a short duration emergency, 3 days or less. But we found a way to create one, a tube tent, and what we do is we buy a piece of plastic drop cloth and 2 mils. Now we've tried the 0.7 mil. It will work, but 2 mils hangs out, or holds up a lot better. You can crawl in and out of the tube tent without breaking the bottom off on the sticks.
Yeah, if you use anything smaller, really, even just the sticks on the ground are going to poke right through it, which aren't going to provide a long-lasting shelter.
Right. And that with some duct tape, it could be any regular duct tape. We like Gorilla Tape because it's very strong, and a roll of bank line, and you have a great shelter. And in the future, we're going to do a video and show you, within about 15 minutes, you can put up a very effective shelter, which comes to a little less than $6, maybe $8 when you look at all the components.
Right. Real quick, I wanted to mention a couple of the items in there are not the cheapest that they can be, but if you subscribe to the adage like we do of 2 is 1 and 1 is none, you have multiples of a lot of things. So we took things that we had multiples of and put in the bucket. You really want to use the most reliable item for the price range that you can afford to put in there and never see the bucket again.
That's right. Well, we thank you for viewing us again, and we look forward to your comments, and we look forward to any suggestions you have on future videos. Thank you.
Thanks.